Okay, so today we'll be discussing measuring national economic performance. This is basically national income accounting, which is the way that the government uh, keeps a record of all economic activity in a given time period for the country. So, what is GDP? GDP is gross domestic product, or in other terms, is the total value of all final goods and services produced in a given period. Usually it is a year. Now, GDP helps evaluate the country's economy, but it's not perfect. For one thing, it does not include intermediate goods or services. Intermediate goods are or other words are considered as producer goods. They are semi-finished products that are used in the production of a final good. For example, this car. This car is considered a final good because it's got all its parts and is sold as one component. You have the tires, the windshield, the windows, everything. The tire itself on its own is considered the intermediate good. It was produced to help in the production of the car. When the car is produced, all its intermediate parts are accounted for already. So we don't have to count the production of the tires because then we'll be counting them twice when evaluating GDP. Likewise, GDP does not account for black market activities like selling illegal merchandise. The major reason for this is because the government is not aware when certain illegal merchandise are being produced and sold, so we can't include them in our nation's GDP. And also, it's legal, so no one should be doing any illegal productions anyway. But most do when concerning drugs. And even though there's a high profit to be gained from selling drugs, it is not it's not going to help our GDP increase because again, it's not being accounted for. Now a lot of people think that a higher GDP means more people are happier in a given country, but that's not always the case. For example, people in major cities in the United States are less happier than people in India who are living in little huts with mud floors and leafy ceilings, while people in major cities live in nice houses and are surrounded by major factories and buildings and corporations that all increase the GDP. This is because happiness varies place to place and it has nothing to do with GDP. But overall, GDP helps indicate the health of a country's economy. We are looking for high GDP. That's what we always want. Because when the economy is healthy or when there's a higher GDP, there is usually low unemployment because more labor is being demanded to produce these new goods and services, and wages increase like with that. So overall, higher GDP is very good. That's all.
This is the circular flow diagram. It shows how factor markets provide firms with resources to produce goods and services. The firms then provide markets with finished goods and services, and the markets make it available for consumption by households. Households again provide factor markets with resources, showing the flow of goods and services and money in the system.
GDP is made up of four components, formerly known as SIGNICS. The C stands for consumer spending, which is when we buy goods such as clothing and food. The I stands for investment spending. An example of investment spending is when a farmer buys a tractor to increase his revenue. The G stands for government spending, which is when the government spends money on infrastructures such as roads and buildings. The X stands for net exports, which is the total exports or goods coming out of the country minus total imports, which are goods coming into the country. A decrease in any of these factors would cause a decrease in demand, causing demand to shift left on the supply and demand graph. This results in a decrease in price level as well as a decrease in GDP, which means higher unemployment. An increase in any of these factors would cause an increase in demand, shift in demand to the right, which results in an increase in price level as well as an increase in GDP.
Real GDP is economic output adjusted with inflation, whereas nominal GDP has no adjustment for inflation. Nominal GDP is used when comparing outputs for different quarters in the same year, whereas real GDP is used to compare two different years of output.